Hello everyone and welcome to the Art of Teaching Art. Today I'm going to show you how to complete a monoprint using line on an alternative surface. So I followed a video by Tom Quigley to create this map-based piece. Really lovely series of videos. I will link them down below so you can go and have a look. And I really love this piece of work and it will really serve as a way of developing to other pieces of work. So what I've done is actually photocopied this and I've cut out a section, so I've cut round the edges of the paper and round some of the roads to create this interesting shape, and I'm going to add this onto a coffee stained piece of paper. So I've got two choices here. So with this, both of these pieces, I've used watercolour pencil to create marks in the background, and then I've gone over with coffee and left that to dry. So I think actually because I've used a lot of blues in my piece, I'm going to go for the blue based piece, but you can see already I'm developing some ideas. I've got the organic shapes of the coffee dripped onto the paper, I've got the scratch marks of the pencil and the colour of the pencil coming through in the background. So already I'm building up the texture of the piece to just extend it. So first of all, I need to just add this piece that I photocopied from my own piece of work onto the back. So I'm just going to tape that on. Be quite careful with where the tape is because also I don't want it to be in an area where I'm going to colour over. Okay, so that's all stuck down. So the next step is to roll out my monoprinting ink. So to do that, you will need a piece of board. So this is an acrylic plastic board. You will need some masking tape, roller, something to draw with, so pens or pencils, and then you will also need some monoprinting ink. So I'm going to try and roll the ink out to the same size as this piece of paper here. Now if you've watched the other monoprinting videos, then you will have seen me do this a couple of times. So just adding the ink onto the surface and then rolling it out. So now I'm just going to place that directly down onto the monoprinting ink, so is the coffee side down, and I'm going to just attach that using some masking tape. So there's quite a lot of overlapping lines here, so I think the kind of methodical way to do this is to work from one side to the other. Obviously I want to try and get the thick and thin lines, and I might even leave some of the lines out depending on how I feel kind of as I'm adding it. So I think I'm going to add the biggest lines first and then kind of work over the top of that. I'm using quite a thin pen to begin with, and it's orange so it will show up, which is great. The initial lines in, I'm gonna work in now with just the end of this lino cutting tool, which is a wooden lino cutting tool, to add some of these marks in, because I think it's just interesting to create a bit of texture in the piece as well. So I just need to remember which ones I've done because obviously you won't be able to see it. So I've added those marks in now, and I'm going to go over some of the thinner lines on the piece but with a thicker pencil this time. So I'm kind of changing how it looks from the original piece, so just to get some thicker lines in. added in, I think, most of the areas. I'm just going to lift it up to just have a look and see. Oh, interesting. So the debate is now is whether to add some darker areas. And I think that actually I'm quite undecided. This is one of those kind of dilemmas. I think it needs some finer detail, so some thinner kind of detail. So I'm going to just use the biro pen to just add a few smaller details and some dashed lines, I think. That's it. I think I'm going to leave it like that. So this is the final kind of piece. I think it's looking really interesting. You've got so many overlapping lines and marks. I did wonder about adding some darker areas, but I think I'm going to leave it. I really love how these lines are coming down this side as well. I think it would be good to work into this and kind of develop this a little bit further as well. And this is quite a departure for me. I quite often do still life realistic drawing, and this is a little bit more abstract, which is really interesting. Thank you so much for watching and have a really great day.